How y'all doing? Now today, I'm gonna be showing you how to make a toolbox. I'm gonna show you how to make it cheap. I'm gonna show you how to make it simple. And I'm gonna show you that it's gonna fit everything you need inside. Now I call it a toolbox, but you could really use this for any type of hobby you got. If you paint, you can put your paint brushes and all your paint in there, your varnishes. If you sew, you can put all your sewing stuff in there. Whatever type of hobby you got, this is gonna help you keep it organized, keep it all in one spot, especially if you ain't got a lot of room. I live in a townhouse, so I ain't got a lot of space. So I need to organize things and keep everything compact as I can. So what I decided to do is get a toolbox. But when I went out to look for toolboxes, they're super expensive. I didn't realize how expensive toolboxes were. They damn near cost more than the tools I'm about to put in it. So I ain't gonna go spending hundreds of dollars on a big toolbox to fit everything that I need in there. I'm telling you, I only spent 20 bucks on this, so that's cheap. Now let me tell you what you're gonna get for 20 bucks at the little store. Nothing. I'm telling you, that box is gonna be so small, you're gonna be able to fit 3 wrenches and 2 rolls of tape. I'm telling you, that's gonna be it. But you know what? I don't care, because I ain't paying that, and neither should you. So stay tuned, and we're gonna get right to it, show you how to do it. All right, step 1 is gonna be to measure out the bottom of the tray. Now this is gonna depend on how big your tote is, so measure that first before you do this. All right, let's cut. All right, now you wanna bring over some tools or whatever you're gonna put in the box, and now we're gonna measure up to see how tall we're gonna need the sides to be. All right, yeah, that one ain't looking too good. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Nope. All right, so we'll need a little bigger piece. I had a little scrap piece. Yeah, that one's got a lot more room. Put something on top of this. It'll work perfect. I think this will work. All right, so now I'm measuring out the second tray. I want a big second tray, so I want to make sure I have enough room for the tray and the lid to fit on, because it indents a little bit. So now I got 1, 2, boom. So we're gonna make a duplicate of this scrap piece of wood that I had. It's gonna be a good size, so no need to do nothing else. All right, now when you're working with this straight track, you always wanna double check that line. If you clip it on one side and just go clip it on the other side, it ain't gonna be perfect. So you always wanna double check to make sure it's right. Now here, I'm measuring out the side of the tray. Now I'm getting this measurement is measuring the bottom of the tray minus the thickness of the 2 pieces of the sides, because it's gonna lay right in the middle. All right, now we're gonna trace this one and make an exact duplicate. Make sure it's exactly the same. All right, now we got everything cut out. Time to assemble. All right, now anytime you're putting wood on wood, you want to add a little bit of glue. Another convenient thing is this little brush I got from Rockler for like $5. Now we're gonna drill a pilot hole through both boards. Now the reason we do this is so when we put that screw in, it'll line up perfectly. So however we do it right now and putting this in there, it's gonna be perfectly straight on with that. All right, now you see how the screw just goes straight for that little hole? Boom, gets in there tight. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice and flush on there. Get a close up on that. There we go. Nice. Now we're gonna flip it over, put a pilot hole on this side, screw it in. Now the reason I do this instead of just going straight down the line with screws is this is the best way to ensure that it's gonna be straight. If you go just straight down the line, by the time you get to the bottom, most likely it's not gonna be perfectly straight. So this is the best way to ensure it to be as straight as it can be. Now that we got this screw on both sides, now it's time to put a couple more in the middle. Same thing, pilot hole, screw, on to the next. Now we done. Now you see that nice little bead of glue? That's how you know you did it right. And then the same thing on the other side. Pilot hole, screw on both ends, and then tidy up the middle. All right, now we're going for the other side. Just gonna glue that up. Same way we did the other side. Any part that's gonna touch some wood, we're gonna put some glue on it. Now on this one, I just put 2 screws in the bottom and then 1 on each side. That seemed to work pretty good, seam tight. That's all you need. And there you have it. Now you can make this any size that you're gonna need it. It's gonna be the same basic principle to whatever you need. All right, now these are some 2x6 offcuts that I had from another project. These are gonna be what's gonna hold the box up inside. You could also use some 2x4s or whatever you have. Just something sturdy enough to hold it up. Now right here, I'm gonna cut what's gonna go on the outside of the box to kind of hold that little brick up. This was just some plywood that I had laying around, so this is what I used. You could use something like this. Otherwise, I mean, I believe you could probably use just some washers or something like that, but hey, I didn't have that, so I used whatever I got. Truthfully, I believe it's gonna hold up even better than a washer. So after using that jigsaw, this wood's a little bit splintery, so you're gonna wanna sand it down a little bit. Boom. Now we got our 4 pieces we need for the outside, basically wooden washers, and our 4 for the inside. Now we're ready to make the handle. What I did was just trace my hole saw. I did 4 holes. You want them overlapping. What that's gonna create is basically 3 little bumps going up, and that's just kind of like a natural position for your hand to grip onto. What I learned from using this hole saw is that you don't want to just go straight in and keep drilling. You want to drill some, pull up, drill some, pull up, so you can get some of them wood chips to come out. Now you can see those 3 little humps give you a perfect hand position. Gonna let you grip it good, gonna be nice and comfortable. Now you can either clean it up with this Dremel tool. If you ain't got a Dremel tool, you can just use some sandpaper, whatever you got. You also want to clean up the edges. You want to round off these little corners right here. These corners, factory, be super sharp. It don't look that sharp when you do it, but it really is. So boom, now we're just finna cut it to size. Now you want to make sure that this size of this isn't taller or overlapping your box, so we can put more boxes on top of it flush. And that's how you get a simple, comfortable handle. Next, find the middle of your box. And then what I did is put 2 screws on each side, because that's where the thick part of the wood was. Now here, I just drilled about halfway through, just enough so the drill bit was showing through on the other side. Then I just lined up that handle and just drilled a pilot hole through that. Now if I was thinking right, I probably would have just drilled a hole through the handle itself before I even, did that, just so it would line up perfect. But in the end, it still worked out, so it is what it is. Then I just put a little glue on it and did basically the same thing with this screw. I just put it in just enough so it's peeking through. You see the little dimple right there? Now it's gonna be able to catch that hole on the handle real good and go in smooth. Time for the final check and make sure it's nice and flush. We want it nice and flush so that next box will just sit on top of it. It ain't gonna harm it at all, ain't gonna put no pressure on it. Now we're gonna set up the little blocks inside to hold up our little tray. What I did was just grab a scrap piece of wood and my speed square just to kind of get it straight as I could. Lined it up. I did about 4 inches from the bottom. It's gonna depend on what you wanna put in the bottom of your box. This was good enough for me. Need to mark it. Boom. I did here is just drill pilot holes through both of them at the same time so that the inside lined up perfectly with the outside, and I knew it both had, you know, enough meat on that wood so it wouldn't mess up the wood. Make sure everything was aligned right. See that little line that we had marked with a nail? Now we can just line it up. And what I'm doing here is just drilling a pilot hole straight through the board into the actual plastic of the tote. So now that when I screw this in there, it's already lined up perfectly. Like I keep telling you, we're trying to keep this as straight as possible. Same thing here, leave a little dimple on the ends so that the next piece will just line up perfect. Now this is a good practice to keep on any type of thing you're doing close to something like this. Now I just tighten this just a little bit just to get it in there a little bit, not all the way tight. Now we're gonna line up this next part with the little hole. Now we're gonna screw this one all the way down tight. Boom. Now we can tighten that next one back up. Then you can repeat those same steps on all 4 sides of the tote, and then double check each time you do it. You want to put your level on it and make sure it's good. If not, make adjustments. But you know me, I did it right. Bye boom. Now we get to see the final project. Now you see I can fit so many tools in here. This is one of my best ideas yet. I'm telling you, I'm glad I ain't waste no money on no expensive toolbox. I got this, like I said, for less than 20 bucks. I spent like $7.50 on each tote. I had some scrap wood and maybe spent like $6, possibly $10 on some other scrap wood just to kind of complete both totes. Now, like I said, any hobby you got, this is gonna be the thing that you need to help keep everything organized, help you keep it in one spot, and really just so it's out the way. It is a little heavy though, so I might add some wheels. That's the only downside I could say to this, but that's just because it can fit so many damn tools in it that it's heavy, but that's a compromise we're gonna deal with. Till next time, appreciate it.